Okay, so this should hopefully be the video for both pages 1 and 2 of your Unit 7 notebook. You're going to need 3 things from your vocab sheet that you've got here that says cell, organism, and structure. You're going to need the vocab word cell, and then both of these pictures, the one of the cell and the one of the classroom. The classroom one will make sense later. You're also going to need this half sheet, a little reading about cell theory, and then these doodle notes. Cell theory. So get those 3 things trimmed, cut out, and ready to go, and we're going to start it on the vocab word. Okay, so this is for on page 1. I'm going to do the definition of cell. Let me get this out of the way. So cell. What is a cell? Remember, a definition is the meaning of the word. So cells are the basic unit of all living things. So this is what makes up all things that are living. Remember, unit like a meter or a foot or a pound is what we measure things in. So like this is how it's built up of cells. Like you are 100 centimeters tall. You are a bajillion cells big. It's just another way of counting, but it's an individual chunk. Okay? So more on that, it's the structural. So remember, structure is like how things built. Oh, the smallest structural. And functional. So that's like working. Functional unit of, not off of, all organisms that are said to be alive. So that's a more detailed version. So how they're built and how they work. So all of the related words that we're going to use, we'll use the word cell, then cellular. Now that's not like your cellular telephone or your cell phone. This is means about the cell or of the cell or cell-like. We're going to use multicellular. It means made of more than one cell. Unicellular or single-celled. Means made of one cell. We're going to talk about the cell theory. That's about how we, what we know about cells. There's some other ones like cell membrane, cellular respiration, cell division, but those are the main ones that we're going to talk about and that you need to know in order to be able to do the rest of it. And the 3 main kinds of cells we're going to look at are single-celled organisms, so those are going to look different than the cells in an animal cell or a plant cell. Animal cells, plant cells. Okay, so we have 2 pictures. So you're going to want to get that glued in, and then we'll put the pictures on because the pictures are going to take up too much room. Am I out of glue? No. Wait, let me try the other one. Oh, phew. Thought I was out of my stuff. Okay. So that's going to go all the way at the top-ish. And then you've got 2 vocab words. Where did my scissors go? Or not 2 vocab words, 2 pictures. So this top one is just a picture of an animal cell. So if you're asking to describe how this picture represents the word, it is literally a picture of a cell. And we also have a picture of a classroom. And throughout the unit, we're going to talk about how a cell is like our classroom. So we're going to imagine, and we're going to make a lot of metaphors, metaphors, for how our classroom is a cell. So we can think of our whole classroom as a whole cell. The next thing we're going to need is this, and we're going to read that together. If you're working on this in class, we're going to read it together as a class, and then you'll work on this with your table mates or your people who are sitting next to you. But let's go ahead and read this together. So if you have a highlighter or something to underline with, that would be great right about now. So cell theory, which is a vocab word we're going to look at a little bit later, maybe tomorrow or later this week. But cell theory is the idea that every living creature, from very small to very large, is made of at least one cell. And this is the foundation of theories in biology, so it's one of those. With advancements in the power of microscopes, we're going to use microscopes, scientists over centuries were able to discover the existence of cells and how they function. And we want to remember that function means how they work. So function means work. Cell theory has 3 basic parts. So this is the cell theory. Number 1, all living things are composed of cells. So if it's living or was once living, it's composed of cells. Number 2, the cell is the basic unit of life. So in order to have life, you have to have a cell, and that's what they're made of. Number 3, all cells are produced from other cells. So it means you can't make a cell from nothing. You have to make a cell from another cell. And that's true, and scientists have found that to remain true. So here's a timeline of how we discovered these things about cells and cell theory. So in 1590, Hans and Zacharias Janssen, or maybe Janssen, I'm not sure. Sounds Scandinavian. Oh, Holland. I was close. A father and son from Holland, or the Netherlands, are credited. That means that they are given the credit for finding this, or for inventing the compound microscope. A compound microscope has more than one lens and higher magnification abilities. So it's more than just a single lens, like glasses or a magnifying glass. It's got several compound. That means added on, so that you can see far or closer and closer. In 1655, Robert Hooke, that's pronounced Hook, an English, so he's from England, he doesn't just speak English, an English physicist, that means he does physics mostly, improved upon the design of the compound microscope, looking at a sliver, that means a very thin slice of cork, which is a kind of plant, through a microscope. He saw small closed-in spaces, and he named them cells. So Robert Hooke is the guy who invented the name cells. In the 1680s, we're not sure exactly what year, Anton Van Leeuwenhoek, say that with me, Van Leeuwenhoek, a Dutch, so he's also from Holland, they're from the same place, scientist, observed small living organisms that he called animalcules by looking at pond water through a microscope. So I'm guessing he mixed the word animal and molecules together to get animalcules. In 1838, Matthias Schleiden, I'm not sure. We'll go with Schleiden. A German botanist, that means he studied plants. That's plants. After researching the structure of plants, remember how they're built, under a microscope, he stated that all plants are comprised of cells. So he found that to be true about plants. In 1839, not much later, Theodor Schwann, also a German physician, that means doctor, stated that all animals are composed of cells or the product of cells in their structures. So around the same time, they figured that out about cells, about plants and animals. Then in 1855, Rudolf Virchow, also a German doctor, through his research added the third part, that was all cells are produced from other cells. So we had a kind of a gap here. The third part of cell theory, that cells are produced from other cells. So modern scientists have expanded our cell theory to include these 3 ideas, so 3 more ideas. Energy flow occurs within cells, so that's they call that metabolism. So that's like the energy gets transferred from one cell to another. Cells carry genetic material or DNA that is passed from cell to cell. And number 3, all cells are essentially the same in chemical composition. So what they're made of is the same, like chemicals, the same elements. Remember we talked about the periodic table? But they're just organized differently. So you're going to use this reading to fill out this paper. Okay, let me zoom back out. Okay. So on this paper, there's a couple pieces of information. We've got our timeline. So you need to put the dates in up here at the top. And then the information about these people in here. And then what is cell theory? All that stuff is going to be up here. The parts that it includes. And then these are the 3 parts at the top, not these 3. So these 3 are the important ones. Okay, when you're done, you're going to have this guy glued in. If it fits upright here, that would be great. And then on page 2, you're going to put in your doodle notes. So they probably won't fit like that. So you're going to want to put them in sideways, and then you're just going to fold over that part when you're done. So you're going to work with your table mate or the people around you to use this information, do this, and then we will go over that together. So those are pages 1 and 2.